Good afternoon. You are now tuned in to the Elife Power Lunch Show. I am one of your hosts, Chris Murray, and I'm here with the one and only Dr. Baruch. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I am wonderful. What a day we have today.
We do have a special day, especially being that the engineer is going to have to switch back and forth every time we talk.
Well, that's all right. I think we can handle it.
You think you can handle it?
Yeah, we can handle it.
I'm sorry. Yes, okay. Yes, we can handle it.
That's so funny. Well, I'll go ahead and I'll jump into our hot topic. That way I can talk for a stretch and give you a rest. I know over the weekend it was a huge event, the Women's March on Washington, which turned out not to be just in Washington, was huge. They had, I heard, 2.5 million participants. It was said not to be an anti-Trump protest, but more so people standing up for women's rights. But from the pictures and some of those hilarious signs that I saw, I think was actually a little both. Were you able to go down and check it out?
I didn't go down to the Women's March, but I did receive a lot of women's marchers at my restaurant in Northwest D.C., and it was really interesting to hear. This is me talking, right? So the engineer, can you switch over to me? Okay, yeah. So I was able to, get a chance to speak to people about their views and their thoughts, and you get a read on how people are, and a lot of people that are eating healthy and thinking green and doing a lot of positive things for themselves and are part of this movement. So I feel like it's a good thing, and it was good. I appreciated the energy on both sides, the energy just to empower women, but also the energy being sent out to let Trump know that, you're not going to get your way and slow your roll, buddy.
Right. That's right. And it was just so funny because I know right now, especially since this is his first week, all eyes are on him. And so, they're watching his Twitter account because he's notorious for just kind of posting some out there things on social media. And he was basically just calling out the media outlets and just, saying they had bad coverage and, calling CNN fake news and, all that good stuff. But just, the march in itself was interesting to me because I was just thinking about it. I didn't actually go out. I wasn't able to go out. But it goes back to what I always talk about. I mean, I like the fact that people were able to come together, get energized. It was a rally in most cases because there were so many people they couldn't actually do the march. But I think it was good in putting people in the right spirit. But my question is always going to be, what's going to be the follow-up? It's now Wednesday. What are we still doing in that spirit? People still going, or are we back at square one? So that's pretty much, what my thought was, what actions are being taken to really keep it going and really to make things happen, because it's nice to say you were there. It's nice to have the T-shirt, the pink knit hat, but what are we doing?
Right. And I think this is a conversation. We have an expert online who we'd like to have participating in this conversation. We lost video a bit. We have your name on the screen, but we don't see you. And we'd love to hear there you are, and we'd love to hear your input. We have none other than Dr. Nalanie Valentine. That isn't a tongue twister, but maybe just because of all the drama today. How are you?
I am wonderful, thank you. Doing marvelously, and I am getting feedback.
Yes, we're hearing that as well. We're going to see whether we can address that on this end.
All righty.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, that's better. Well, no. It's still there. Should I just continue?
Yes, you should continue.
Okay. All righty. So I am definitely not an expert where it comes to social activity and politics. My expertise is in health, wellness, and all those good things. However, I must say that I recognize one of the things that you said that I appreciate very much, and that's the first thought that came into my mind, is that this was a show of rallying. This was how people do come together when they can and when they feel they must. And that, I think, is a very powerful thing. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
we can hear you.
Alrighty. However, there is always, in every situation, more than what meets the eye, and more than what the average populace can see and hear. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that most people don't know of, and time is going to tell what the real deal is about Trump. Time.
Yeah. No. I agree with you.
And it is not what most people would think. He may be, my husband has a few choice names for him, which I will not repeat. However, my husband has helped me to come to see, because of his knowledge of history and his knowledge of what's happening in the country and in the world, there is more to Trump than what meets the eye, and you may be very surprised to see the good that may come out of this. And that's all I'll say.
Right. And that's something that we actually talked a little bit about earlier, he definitely has connections, basically, so he may not be the front man. And that's the thing to keep in mind. He's a businessman, and to me, when you're a businessman and you're the man at the top of the business, and not just any business, these multi-million-dollar, corporations, then you know a thing or two about really management and delegating. And so it may not be him doing the actual work, but he's definitely connected in a way that he knows how to orchestrate the things that he has planned for us.
And there's more, even much more deeply, he is not a politician, never was, and doesn't intend to be. And for that reason, he will be doing things that other politicians will not do because of their constituency, you see. And I mean globally, dealing from way back with the Vatican, there have been things going on in the country that most people have no clue of, which he does not participate in. And so there's a lot going on, and that's all I'm going to say for now.
I like that. I like that expansion on the whole conversation. I appreciate that. And I think it definitely warrants some deeper investigation. And I remember seeing the sign up. It was a poster up that a white guy was carrying, and it was said something to the effect of, "We hope to see all of you white women out for the Black Lives Matter march, whenever."
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Interesting. I am interested in learning more about you and what you do. So if you can, for our listeners and viewers that may not be familiar with your practice, please share with us your information, what you do. And
Alrighty. I guess you don't need my history as to how I got started with this or any bio, but just what we do, correct?
Yes.
Alrighty. What we do is we help people to heal themselves, and that's what I do, along with my husband, without drugs, as he helped me to heal myself, without drugs, without herbs, and without a lot of vitamins. I am right now beginning to really close my focus onto baby boomers, because I have seen just too many of our elders, people my age and older, who think that they have to be ill, they have to be sick, oh, I'm getting old, oh, I'm getting tired. And I am really looking to, and my focus now is helping people learn to eat clean, to eat well, to be vibrant, and to grow healthier as we grow so-called older. Because, us baby boomers are kicking and screaming. We are not about to get old.
And I think it's important that we consider the baby boomer and the fact that the baby boomer still represents a significant population in the United States of America, although probably expiring pretty quickly due to all the health challenges that are growing seemingly amongst them. And so tell us about what it is you focus specifically on and how that work is assisting them.
First and foremost, the mindset. Because nothing happens without spirit. Nothing. And everything is spirit. Everything is vibration. And that is where we begin with first having us realize where the source really is, where the energy actually comes from, where strength and healing comes from, not from somewhere outside of ourselves, but from deep within. And then every thought that we think, and you've heard this, I'm sure, so many times now. It's become very popular since they had The Secret, and that was just the book that was written from. There were two, really. One written in 1912 called The Master Key System, and it talks about all the things that you see in The Secret, really. And so this is where I am now. I am working with people my age. I'm 68, and doing yoga every day, walking, running, eating well, loving and enjoying life. And this is what I would like to see more happening, more elders enjoying life. And so I work with them with their nutrition. Nutrition is 80%. 80% of what's going on, of disease, is based on nutrition and lack thereof. Nutrition, thinking properly, lifestyle changes, all of those things come into play.
Okay. I want to jump in here, Dr. Nalanie. I want to jump in and I know you have a presentation that you are going to share with us today. Is that something that you're still going to be able to do?
Yes. Okay, should I go ahead with that?
Yes.
I don't want it to take too much time, and let's see. I'm going to share my screen. Let's make sure before I do that, yes, everything's in place. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All righty. Let's get rid of that. I don't know why it's not... there we go. There. Alrighty, so I'm involved in a healthy living revolution, and I'll just say right out front that I deal with a product, and that product is Juice Plus, and you'll know more about it as we go along, because we take very seriously doing no harm, and that is why until now there really are very few products we would even mention, let alone endorse. And as we go along, you'll see. So we're talking about... Uh-oh, what happened here? Okay, so it's here. And what we're talking about is a revolution. And as I'm sure you have noticed, we could use a lot more of us in what's going on here. And this is indicative of even to our health study. We have a children's health study program where children ages 4 through college, pre-grad, can get Juice Plus for free. And I'll talk more about that later. But the point is that this is not just about a product. And I hope that that was very obvious in that film. That even though there weren't a lot of us in there, I still wanted to show because it shows the 4 core areas that we get to strengthen. Not only nutrition, that's major nutrition. However, then there is exercise, which is just as important as nutrition. And some people think that, well, if I exercise a lot and I'm really fit, that I'm healthy. And we know that's not true either. And then, so we've got exercise, we've got nutrition, we've got water, hydration. We don't understand how important hydration really is. We hear people say, oh, you have to have 8 glasses of water, and we need water to get rid of the poisons, to help the toxins out of the body. Yes, that's true. However, by the time you're thirsty, you're dehydrated and you're in trouble. Because not only do we use the cells, that water to flush out poisons and toxins, our body uses water for everything. Everything. If you think of the way the brain functions, if you think of electricity, if you are, why do they think they tell you to stay away, to keep electrical things away from the tub, away from water? Because water is a wonderful conductor of electricity. Instant, right? Well, that's what happens. Our thoughts, our brain power, it's all electrical. It's electrical and magnetic, back and forth.
Dr. Nalanie, if you're changing images on the screen, we're not getting it. We're just seeing healthy living used to be simple. Is that the right image we're supposed to see?
Yes, it is. I just went on and on. So I just want to make this point of the 4 core areas are very important. And I just wanted to say about water that when you're not drinking enough water, the intelligence in the body knows it, and it will start withdrawing water from some cells in order to feed the more vital cells and in order to create the juices, the hormones, all the things that are necessary. So it's very important to have water. So we're looking at healthy living where it used to be simple. And that's the point. It used to be simple. But now we've got a replacement where our children are just sitting down. As you can see, they're playing games. They're hardly ever outdoors as you saw in that film. It's just not that way anymore. So the question is, how well are you taking care of you? And these are the 4 core areas that I spoke of. Real food. Why would I even have to use the term real food? Because guess what? Most of the food in the stores are not real today. And let's look at these. Let's look at this. We've got toxins that are increasing. They're not going down. They're increasing. Let's see. Okay. And then let me just make sure we didn't skip anything. Okay. And then the other thing is that food is not real food anymore. The real food that you find is what you will find in the periphery of the grocery store. Once you start going down the aisles, it's a wrap. It's not real anymore. It's something that they had something that used to be food and processed it into a product. It is not food. And you've got all of these things, as I'm sure you've heard over and over again. But is this real food? The question is no. And what does the body require? Real food. So briefly about oxidative stress. It is at the base of just about every single disease, dis-ease that ever was. Inflammation and oxidative stress. So our cells are being hit constantly with what we call free radicals, free radical damage. And it's just like you see the apple here. That is oxidizing, that is aging. And there are several ways that we have this oxidation. And we need antioxidants to protect us from this oxidation. And that is where we get fruits and vegetables on the scene. Because the colors, the carotenoids, that's the only protection that we have, the only protection that we have against free radical damage. So way back when Thomas Edison was around, he said the doctor of the future will no longer treat the human frame with drugs, but rather will cure and prevent disease with nutrition. However, I am here to tell you that nutritionists, not just nutritionists, but naturopathic doctors have been doing this for centuries and have been threatened, chased out of the country. The history between the AMA and the naturopaths is a sordid one. It's a very sad story. However, that being said, the proof can no longer be pushed to the side. The proof of the matter is that fruits and vegetables are really the only medicine we would ever need should we have a pristine environment, which you know we don't. And however, now doctors, medical doctors, not all, because here a lot of them are still being taught that it makes no difference. But a lot of medical doctors now are recognizing it. Mass-produced food is so much less nutritional than even what this one slide says. It's really more like 75 to 80%. For instance, broccoli has 80% less nutrition than it did in the 1940s when I was born. 80%. And then we have the fact that it's not ripened on the vine. Why is that such a big deal? We know that sprouts are good for you because 25% of the nutritional content is right there. However, it stays that way and it begins to get larger and larger, but it's not really drawing nutrition from the soil until it is fully matured and begins to ripen on the vine. When do we get our vegetables, even the organic ones, fruits and vegetables, picked hard and green so they can be transported without spoilage? And therein lies another 70 up to 75% loss of nutrition. So those of us who say, oh, I eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, I thought so too, until I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And even after that, the juicing I was doing wasn't giving me what my body really needed. And one other component is being able to grow your own food. And there are so many of us who live in apartments. Right now we're in a condo. We don't have soil anymore to grow, but we do have a tower garden. And if you live in an apartment, you can have a tower garden and grow your own. You know where that came from. You know there are no pesticides and herbicides on it. Right. And you know it's organic. And it uses 90% less water and 90% less space. And what I love about this is because it's becoming much more popular now to have these types of aeroponic, well, most of them are not even aeroponic. This is aeroponic and hydroponic. Most of them are just hydroponic. Aeroponic because the roots inside the air is able to get to the roots, and the water comes up a pump and then just rains down with the nutrition and its earth minerals in the water. And it just rains down and keeps them moist but not sopping wet. And they grow just much faster, much stronger, and they really taste good too. So that's one other thing that you can have. But this is one simple change that we all can make, and that is adding this kind of nutrition to our bloodstream. And if I might, I just read a little bit apples, acerola cherries, beets, cranberry, date, orange, pineapple, papaya, prunes, cabbage, garlic, brown rice, and oat bran, and those 2 grains are gluten-free. Broccoli, kale, parsley, spinach, blackberry, coke. I don't know about you, but I was not getting all of this in my bloodstream, even when I was juicing. And what I found is that the juice didn't have what I thought it had, even though I was juicing. And I ended up with arthritis in my hands, very painful. And my knuckles were swollen, stiff, swollen, painful, and didn't have full range of motion. You should be able to touch the palm of your hand, but I was not able to. I could go about this far, and that was it. I don't know if I have a slide on there for that. However, that's when I was introduced to Juice Plus, which is whole food nutrition. And what they do is they use farmers that have the old-fashioned farming practices, and they ripen it on the vine. Within 24 hours of being picked, it is juiced at low temperatures, and just the water and sugar molecules came out naturally without the water. They didn't do anything to make the sugar molecules leave. So that was a plus that wasn't expected. Now we can give it to diabetics. Can you imagine? We have been able to have people get off of medication who had been with diabetes for years and years and years and told they had to take insulin forever.
Right.
Not so.
Right.
Not so. And you can give them all of these fruits without the sugar, but with all the carotenoids that protect us. So it's just a marvelous thing to be able to have this within 24 hours of being picked then, too. Because the longer after something is picked, it begins to lose its potency.
Oh, yeah. That is great.
So these, right. Did you want to say something?
No,
Oh, okay. Phytonutrients is just a fancy word for plants, plant nutrients. Phytochemicals, it's also called. However, as I mentioned before, if we were in a pristine environment, we wouldn't even have to cleanse. You know, we go on cleanses, we go on the 10-day shred, we go on the 7-day one, very popular, fasting. We wouldn't even have to do that in a pristine environment because fruits and vegetables actually detoxify. So when you're getting that influx, when you're flooding your body with nutrients, you can help yourself, and I'm going to show you more about that. But let's look at this. One apple has 10,000 nutrients, 10,000, and it may be up to 12. Several thousand, I think it was between 8 and 10,000, have already been isolated and named. So that means this is not something that we're just pulling large numbers out to make an impression. They have been isolated and named. How much vitamin C is in an apple? 5 milligrams. So why do we need to take 1,000 milligrams of artificial vitamin C that the body can't even use? And then you put it together with a bunch of other nutrients, and you say, okay, we've got 35 nutrients, a complete multivitamin. It's almost a joke. I always say this, but it's not funny, though. It's not funny at all. It's not complete unless it comes in the whole food source, then it's complete. Alrighty, so the other thing is the macronutrients. We talked about micronutrients, and that is where we actually will get our cleansing and our nourishing. Macronutrients are our carbohydrates. In fact, things that people say when they diet, I'm going to stay away from carbs, they're no good for you. You couldn't live without carbohydrates. Your brain uses actually not just sugar, but it uses glucose, which is what it will convert anything it can into that glucose for functioning. And that's the only food, quote unquote, that the brain uses. But there's a difference between a baked potato, for instance, and a big piece of cake. So what this is, and the reason it's called complete, is that it is a complete amino acid blend. People think that we're supposed to eat protein when really we must have amino acids, and the body makes the protein from the amino acids. This is a complete vegan, non-GMO, gluten and dairy-free. This is what we have for breakfast every single day. Completely plant-based with sprouts. I mean, it has so much good stuff in it, even a blue-green algae, but you can't taste it because it tastes so good. And the blend, they worked for years to get it right. So that's what we have for breakfast, and it keeps the glycemic load stabilized, and you're going to see more about that, I think, in the next slide. So here are the shakes. It's a healthy breakfast. It's great for working out and for a snack. Maybe not late night, but for a snack. Alrighty, so here are the 45. Now, before we talked about having 35, imagine 45 whole plant foods in your body, flooding your body, protecting yourself from all of those antioxidants. I had a short video by Dr. Fowler, and I don't know if it's in here, and I don't know what our time is like, so I don't want to go over your time. The video that I have is about, it's less than 2 minutes. It's about a minute. Do you think we have time to go to it?
Sure, we have time.
Alrighty, let's see. Since I usually have it embedded in my presentation, and I really wasn't planning on doing a presentation, so let's do this really quickly. We can go right on to YouTube, and we'll put in Dr. Fowler. Okay, I should have put Reginald. There we go. Oxidative stress.
Well, Juice Plus is a mixture of all of those fruits and vegetables. It's a spectrum of those fruits and vegetables. So therefore, as a result of consuming Juice Plus, one gets protection against free radicals and also oxidative stress. Now, back in 1997, the New England Journal of Medicine, which is our most prestigious medical journal, had an article which talked about free radicals. And in that article, in a nutshell, basically what the article concluded was that free radicals cause aging, disease, and death. And that's pretty serious. That's a pretty serious statement and conclusion. And if we make billions of these free radicals in every cell, every day in the body, then we need to do something to neutralize those free radicals that cause aging, disease, and death. And the only way you can neutralize those free radicals is by consuming antioxidants in the form of fruits and vegetables. And that's it. And that's what Juice Plus gives you. I've told this story many times about what really got me interested in Juice Plus. Juice Plus has been around over 20 years now. And what really got me interested, even though I heard about Juice Plus almost at the time it hit the market, I did not buy into it because I waited for studies to come out. And the studies that really turned my head in the direction of Juice Plus and never made me look back were the studies on the free radicals. And those studies that were done, there were about 4 of them initially, and what those studies showed was that if you consume Juice Plus, that in 28 days there was a 75% decrease in free radicals. In a third of the patients in those 4 studies, you could not even find the free radicals in those studies. To me, that was extraordinarily significant, and I, since that time, recommend it to my patients, my friends, and my family.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Fowler. So we're taking healthy back. There are some things, there are quite a few things that he said there, and it's really, to me, it's important to know why Dr. Fowler, Dr. Du Bois, why Dr. Sears, why Dr. Valentine, both Drs. Valentine, even recommend, is it all about trying to sell a product? When you know what goes on in the body, and when you know what simple solutions, something as simple as having extra fruits and vegetables at a higher quality. This is superior nutrition that I wasn't even able to get when I was juicing all those organic vegetables. When you see the difference between life and death, when you see, and I'm not trying to say that this is a miracle, it is not, because it's all about all 4 of those areas in life. It's just, we're talking about nutrition, but it's also exercise. It's stressing less and sleeping more. It's drinking lots of water. And it's the nutrition, which is a very important part. But I want to make it clear. I find it really important. In fact, if we did not tell you, if you knew something that could help somebody and you did not tell them about it, where does that leave you? You see? And so we find it unethical not to share this information because there's nothing like it out there. I mean, there are so many products out there that are similar, but that just are not the same thing. It's just not the same. There are clinical research studies, and if you look at this, you can see the quality of the journals, major medical journals. That is huge. If you are a nutritional product, first of all, most of them do not. Most nutritional products, most pharmaceuticals don't have this kind of research. And it's very difficult to get into a major medical journal. If you have 1 or 2 studies, that's impressive. Juice Plus has 35 major studies around the world because there is nothing like it, period. Mm-hmm. Studies that prove 66% less DNA strand damage. Most of us think that genetics is a major thing. If my aunt had it or my grandma had it, and so I'm going to get it. And women are actually going out and having mastectomies as a prosthetic, as you know, a preventative. Not necessary. Totally not necessary. In fact, you know how when people say, oh, that was an unnecessary death, that's how I feel about degenerative disease. Totally unnecessary. It is unnecessary for our young children not to be able to concentrate. Because, number one, of the poisons that are being put in their bloodstream with the vaccines. And because, number two, the food that they're eating is not food. Don't let me get started on the children. That's Don't even let me get started. So, and then from there all the way up to the elders that are on 9 and 10 medications.
Right.
That are hurting when they even just try to stand up. It's unnecessary. And that is why I'm so passionate about it. So yes, I will talk about Juice Plus. Because there's nothing out there that's going to help, that can help. It's not going to heal you. There's nothing, as my book says, there's nothing you can take that will heal you. So that's not the point. And it does not replace your fruits and vegetables either. It is insurance. It adds, it fills the gap between what you're eating and you think you're getting and what you're actually getting from what you're eating. So these are some of the studies that were done. Cardiovascular wellness. I think I talked about that one the last time when they took people to McDonald's and they tested their brachial artery. That's also what Dr. Fowler was talking about. Defense system, gum issues, oxidative stress, inflammation, which I mentioned before, which is at the basis of every single dis-ease. And then protection of DNA, healthier skin, and then there are more. Pregnancy. Oh, I could tell you about this pregnancy study. Perhaps if I ever come on again, because I'm talking my head off today, maybe they say, we don't want her back.
No,
she took up all her time.
Information. No, I'm just waiting till I can ask my questions, but keep going.
All righty, I'm almost done. Let me breeze through the rest of it, because as you can see, I can get going. So this is Dr. Phillips, who is in a very unique position. Not only is he a doctor, but he's also a triathlon athlete. And he has one of the most comprehensive studies and even videos on what happens to an athlete when he exercises. If you have children who are outside playing and running, they need this kind of nutrition, and they can get it for free. If you have children who are in sports, they need 3 times as much. And that's not an exaggeration. Because that oxidase, the more oxygen we breathe, the more the conversion into free radicals and the more oxidative stress. So eat more whole food. There's no comparison. There really isn't. So this is a brief explanation of what happens when people try to diet. The intelligence of the body is amazing. It knows when it's being threatened, even at the subconscious level that you may not know. So when you're getting so many poisons, and look at the population today, how many people are obese? How many people are overweight? It's not just that they eat a lot, it's what they're eating and the kinds of food that they're eating. And not only the types of food, but you've got toxins, poisons that are going in the body. And the divine intelligence in the body says, we have to protect these organs, and so it adds extra fat to protect you from all that poison. And then you decide, I'm going to diet, I want to be healthier. And you diet, and you exercise, but you don't replace the food that you're eating with superior nutrition, which, as you saw before, the fruits and vegetables actually help carry out those toxins. So now the burning fat exposed those vital organs, and now you feel worse and you rebound, and you're bigger when you finish the diet than you were when you started. But when you do proper cleansing, like the 10-day shred, like the Transform 30, like juicing with, adding the Juice Plus to your bloodstream, and plenty of water, then the cleansing gives the body the nutrients to help carry that out. So the fat is going down and not to return. And then maintenance, because it's not a diet. It's not, I'm going to deprive myself for 10 days. No. It is a different way of eating. So then you have better overall health, less fat, more muscle, and you don't rebound. Remember before we talked a little bit about willpower? It's not just about willpower. When you have the feeling of, I have to eat something, I want to eat something, your blood glucose level is low. And when you eat something, for instance, you get up in the morning and you have a bowl of cereal and you think, okay, this is good, healthy cereal, it's whole grain cereal, and it's got who knows how many grams of sugar. And so it spikes, as you can see here, the light blue, spiked up, high glycemic foods. And then the zone of willpower has way been passed. And then you crash, and you're ready to eat everything in sight.
Right.
Okay? How many of us get this much, as much as she's holding in her hands of raw fruits and vegetables? Even when we do eat a lot of vegetables, why is it that vegetarians and raw foodies are eating Juice Plus? Because they know they're not getting what the food really is supposed to be giving them, number one. And the variety, not only the variety, which is something else, because you cook your food, you're killing it, so it's raw. So how many of us eating raw? But the variety is another thing that we're not getting. Okay, I said I was going to go on. So this is the 10-day shred. You're not just shredding pounds. It's not a diet. But you're going to shred certain foods and toxins and certain habits that are not serving you. That's all that's about. And I'm not even going to go deeply into it, but should you decide, we're going to start, you know what, I didn't even realize that. We're going to start a 10-day shred on the 30th. So if you want to join us with the 10-day shred, please message me on Facebook and ask me to be added to the 10-day shred. And if you're not already on the HHN, which is a Health and Happiness Network on Facebook, private message Nalanie Valentine, and I will add you, because it's a secret group with no nonsense on it. You will get all of these things. You'll get a shred guide. You will get support. You'll get me and a whole community with recipes, and all of this is coming as a part of the program, which is amazing. Okay? So where do you see yourself to get started? Some people just start with the shake. at $2.05 a day, which you would get, and that's $61.50 a month, and that's for 2 packs, actually two, because a month you want to go for the whole 4 months, actually. You're not going to do the 10-day shred for 4 months, but you want to have enough. And the reason we say 4 months is because your red blood cells, and I know I'm going from one thing to the next, but I'm trying to get done with this. Your red blood cells replenish themselves completely in 4 months. So the quality of food that you've eaten for the past 4 months has created the quality of the blood that you're living in now and that your cells are swimming in right now. And that is why they give you a 4-month supply, because they want to give yourself a chance, because they know it's not a drug and it's not an herb and it's not a stimulant that's going to stimulate your body and, you're not going to eat juiceless today and jump up and down with extra energy tomorrow. It's just not going to happen. However, after you've changed your blood, the quality of your blood, can you hear what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The quality of your blood gets changed. And it's been proven by so many of these research studies. That's why I'm so excited. Anyway, so this is the premium package. That's having all 4, the fruits, the vegetables, and the berries. And that comes to $132.75 a month. And some people just get the fruits, the vegetables, and the berries, and that's $71.25 a month. And then, but if you're going to do the 10-day shred, it's all. Because I know some of these programs, I've seen them, they're like $500 a month, $425 a month. So even the largest one at $194.25 a month is still wonderful. And of course, the reminder here is that children eat for free.
Wow.
This is a health study that we've had. 56% are taking fewer drugs. 60% were missing a few days from school. 60% of the children taking Juice Plus now, getting it for free. There are over 1 million families, and of course, I would love to see more of our families getting this benefit. Our grandchildren are getting the benefit, and I would like to see all of them. Alrighty, so you can see for yourself what the benefits are. 96 were having a positive benefit of some kind. So we invite you to join us with the 10-day shred. And that is the presentation there. I will stop that. There we are. I know you must have some questions.
Yes.
I just went on and on and on and on.
No, yeah, you definitely gave a ton of great information, and I don't even know where to start. I mean, I'm particularly interested in the product and just the whole process of how it works. Because before I became vegan over the summer, I was drinking Boost because I don't eat properly because I'm always on the run. So I may or may not grab something in the morning. And it's probably just something like cracker or something that's not, within the nutritional value. And I began to lose weight and stuff. And I'm like, well, I got to do something. And so I started drinking the Boost to kind of supplement what I was doing in terms of eating once or twice a day. And I like this option because I had to stop drinking the Boost when I became vegan because Boost isn't vegan. And so it interests me in that, from that aspect. But also in just understanding really how it works, because I know there was a comparison to the multivitamins and just those are artificial. What exactly is this product made of?
Oh, it is fruits, vegetables, and berries. That's it. That's it. What they do is, I don't know if you heard when I was explaining how they juice it. Mm-hmm. They ripen it on the vine, and then they juice it. Within 24 hours of being picked, they juice it and dehydrate it. They just remove the water, and the sugar comes out with the water.
Got it.
And then, so it becomes a juice powder.
Got it.
And they put it in capsules. And there's a good reason it's in capsules, too. It's in capsules because, well, for one reason, you want to maintain the integrity. And if you cut that apple and let the oxygen get to it, it's going to start oxidizing. The same thing happens when you have fruits and vegetables open. So powders that if the powder was open, oxygen could get into it, and contaminants could get into it as well. So for purity and for potency, I hope you can still hear me. For purity and potency, it's in the capsule. And it's also for convenience because you can just take 2 of each a day, 2 fruit, 2 vegetables, 2 berries, and a shake, and I'm good.
That I would live off of that. Like, you should eat today? Yeah, I got my pills in my bag. But I love that.
Yeah. And listening to what it is that you've shared with us today, of course, you're indicating that our food is not what it used to be, and we're getting this nutrition. Now, what is it that's happening with the soil and the process at the plant where these fruits and vegetables are grown that is making it more
good
potent?
question. Good question. As I mentioned, they have partnered with farmers who have stuck to the old-fashioned tradition of proper tilling the soil, proper rotating the soil, not raping the soil, really, of its nutrients without putting back the natural sources of the soil. So that's the first part of it, that they even use certain bugs, certain insects that prey on the insects that would destroy the product, the fruit, the produce. So instead of spraying poisons on it, they control it with other insects, with natural insects that eat the bad insects. I mean, that's amazing to see. And there are some videos that actually show from farm to capsule what it looks like, what they do, and because I talk so much, I guess you wouldn't want to see that one. But but you could always go to my website, which is N like Nancy, Valentine.juiceplus.com. nvalentine.juiceplus.com, and then click on About. And, don't click, just scroll over About until you see the drop-down box, and you'll see Library. There's a library of videos, some which actually show how it's being grown, some that actually show what happens in the process of putting it into powder.
Okay, great. That is good and exciting, and I'm glad you're able to share with us. And it's really thorough in that you're covering a lot of the bases, if not all of the bases, that need to be covered so that we would know what we need to do in order to get our health back on track. And so many of us are starting off January with this thing called a resolution. And I tell my client base, I said, let's not do the New Year's resolution. Let's do the new month, or if you're really weak, we're going to do the new week resolution. Because people fall off within 2 or 3 days. I said, well, now we got another 363 to wait.
Right.
So,
oh my goodness.
So let's make that a new week resolution so that you can, get back on it and not have destroyed yourself between now and the next year. So it's very timely, the information that you're sharing with us, and our audience, again, is always interested in knowing where to find you and contact information again, if you don't mind.
Not at all. Our number is 800-847-1291. 800-847-1291. And my Facebook, I'm right on Facebook as Nalanie Valentine, Malani Valentine, like February 14. And you can ask to be added to the Health and Happiness Network. However, it just so happens that we're doing a 3-day event on Facebook right now. It started yesterday, so we're right in the middle of it. It'll be ending tomorrow. It's a closed group called the Juice Plus Experience. And what you will see there are myself and other people who have had personal experiences with before and after having Juice Plus in their bloodstream. And it's not just about weight loss either. As you'll see, some children with some incredible things that have happened for them. So if you would like to be added to that, just private message me on Facebook, Nalanie Valentine, and ask to be added. Oh, we would have to be friends. We'd have to be Facebook friends, so I'd have to do that really quickly, and then add you to that.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm definitely going to go and check it out because I'm interested in just learning more about that and maybe even signing up. But thank you so much for joining us today. It's definitely been a pleasure.
Likewise.
Great. And thank you. We look forward to having you back. We really need to have you in on a regular basis so you can give us that reminder that we need to stay on our fruits, nuts, and vegetables.
That's right. And
once a month will do for me.
Okay.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Great.
We can use as many people as possible to help spread the word.
Great.
Awesome. And I know we have some exciting things coming up on our side of the world. Today is Wednesday, so that means we have our Health, Wealth, and Knowledge of Self workshop series. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys tonight. Come out at 6 p.m. if you want to join us for a bite to eat. But if you want to just come for the presentation, we're going to be starting that shortly after 7 p.m. and we'll be hanging out and networking until about 9. So we hope to see you. We also have the fitness challenge, which is ongoing. And I'm excited about that too because I need to figure out how to gain 20 pounds, and so hopefully I can work with the experts and just make that happen, along with our new juice system here that we learned about today. So I thank you guys for joining us and being a part of our audience today. We hope that you learned a lot, and we hope to hear from you. So until next time, this has been the Elife Power Lunch Show with Dr. Baruch and Chris Murray. Take care, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.